What is a thermoelectric? I've talked about it for a while today, but what is it? So if you have a piece of metal, not all materials behave as well as others, but some special materials. If across the metal you have a temperature difference, so here's the hot zone and here's the cold zone, then a voltage will develop. And why does that happen? It happens because the density of electrons is different for the hot and the cold region. And because the density of electrons is different, you get a dipole moment established between the two ends, and that is the origin of the voltage. So the quantity that measures that voltage difference, here's the voltage difference divided by the temperature difference, is called the Seebeck coefficient. If you want to make a device and capture that energy, you need two things. You need a large Seebeck coefficient. So this is capturing this temperature difference. You want to capture that electrically. But you want the two ends of this bar to stay at this large temperature difference. So that means that you want the thermal conductivity between these to be very, very small, so that this temperature difference is not destroyed, but remains large. So that's the physical reasoning behind this so-called figure of merit, ZT. So here's the Seebeck coefficient. We have to collect the electrons, the carriers of the energy. So that's sigma, electrical conductivity. And then we have in the denominator, we want the thermal conductivity to be very small. So this is the quotient, ZT. And so how do we do this? And that's what my talk is going to be about. We have to have some kind of approach. So thermoelectricity is interesting, and the origin, the history was that people put in effort in the 1990s, 20 years ago. This field took a big spurt forward because people wanted to have submarines being very, very quiet. That was the stimulus of this whole thing. And it was the US Navy and the French Navy that decided to put money into this and get people excited. So it had a military purpose. It wasn't to collect waste energy, but I think that for societal benefit, that's what we're really looking for in the long run. So, okay. Now, here are some of the problems and why this is a technological challenge. So if you look here, you see we want the Seebeck coefficient to be large. So we want a large value here, the Seebeck coefficient. And we want the conductivity also to be large. Well, for the Seebeck coefficient to be large, the carrier density, that is the number of free electrons that we have per unit volume in this bar that I showed, we want that number to be very small to have this high Seebeck coefficient. However, to have a high electrical conductivity, we want that same number to be very large. We can't have it at the same time. So we have to have some kind of compromise. Thermoelectricity is all about compromise. The quantities that we want to have large or we want small, they work against each other. So we have to have some kind of compromise, and that's what makes this an engineering field, and it makes it hard to make progress. So therefore, we want a large S and we want a large sigma, but to make that happen, we compromise and we produce a large S squared sigma, because in the end, S squared sigma is the outcome. So we have two competing things, and we compromise. The thermal conductivity, likewise. We would like to have a low thermal conductivity, a high electrical conductivity, but they are related to each other. If you make a high electrical conductivity, you will have a high thermal conductivity because the electrons carry both electricity and heat. So we've got a problem in our hands, and that's a challenge. And progress is being made. So the field got a big impetus during the World War II days and right after. And there was a big expansion in capabilities and interest in this field. So the 1960s saw this big increase from very, very tiny values of the ZT factor to a value of 1. At that value, industry started, and people were using thermoelectrics for various small applications. That is, the space program in the United States worked entirely through this, because when you put a satellite up, it's thermoelectric energy that propels it. So it was useful, but it had niche applications, and it was not widely used. It was used over this period from 1960 to 1990, but almost no improvement in performance. The Navy, French Navy and US Navy, got on the science community on their backs just around 1990, 92, that era. And then this experiments were done increasing the value. And nowadays, niche labs report some very, very high numbers, but what can be achieved generally in everybody's lab in a repeatable manner is a value of about 1.5. So this is about where we are now in 2012.